want to be. All inclusion, no confusion. He said, she said, clearing up the drama with Wanda.
Hey, it's me, Wanda B, and you are tuned in to Wanda B on IntellectualRadio.com, iHeartRadio station, and I'm very excited and happy to be here on Sunday. It's a beautiful day in Chicago. I don't know where you're viewing from, but if you're in the area, we're just having great weather. The humidity is low, so my hair is, I was kind of working with it today. So thank you all. Please share the broadcast. I really appreciate it. Today's show is brought to you by my sponsors, Allstate Insurance, 7380 West 87th Street for home, auto, and life insurance. I'd love for you to tell Sal that I sent you to Allstate. You are in good hands with Allstate. Their number is 708-599-5100, and that is Allstate Insurance. And Premier Family Dental, 5600 West 87th Street for dental health and wellness, a comprehensive family and medical practice dedicated to helping people achieve your health and wellness goals. So those are my sponsors. And please, if you need dental assistance, health assistance, check them out. And we moving right along. I want to also say I appreciate and thank 30 and Up Doing Us. And He Said, She Said, which is a Facebook group. Would love for you to join our group. He said, she said, we have some of the same discussions that we have here on IntellectualRadio.com. We do that in our Facebook group. He said, she said, all week long. So we'd love to have you. And thank you. Shout out to DL Banks and Scene Chicago. And thank you for everyone who shares the broadcast. Moni Armstrong, appreciate you so much. Mm-hmm. So we're going to get started. Today's topic is what happened to all good men. And I'm going to start off by introducing my good men that I have here with me today. I have dear James Borshade, our certified life coach for He Said, She Said, and also very much so my own personal life coach. So I can attest to his. Thank you.
Glad to be back.
And O'Kara.
Hey. How's everybody?
So someone says right off, I hate loaded questions with a passion. So I will say that this loaded question actually came from the good men of it. So I won't say that I am the one who came up with this loaded question. So I think we will start off with that. What happened to good men? But you know what? First, though, I do want to recap last week's show. Last week, we had Blaze on, we had Black, and we had N-Dot on, and we were talking interracial dating with those guests. And it was interesting. I never, ever, when I say ever, never, ever, 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 never, ever experienced someone with the views of our dear guest Blaze. It was really interesting because his views were... I'll just ask you to watch last week's show. Watch last week's show. I guess I'm going to
have to watch it.
IntellectualRadio.com. You can find it in the archives there. You can go to YouTube and view the show on YouTube. Thank you, Ann Temple, for sharing the broadcast. I appreciate you. Thank you, 30 and Up Doing Us and Scene Chicago as well for sharing the broadcast. I'm just going to tell you to look at it. So real quickly, guys, how's your weekend been so far? I know you went to the house picnic, you said, okay.
Yes, I went to the house picnic. It was a very good time. It's always a good time. I saw a lot of people. Obviously, you see childhood friends, college friends, high school friends, grammar school friends you made when you was grown. You see a lot of...
It is a reunion picnic.
A lot of nice looking women.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was a good time. It was a really good time.
James, how was your weekend?
I had a great weekend. Did a lot of work on the house, did some relaxation, hung out with some friends, ate. I mean, good weather, good people. You can't beat it.
You can't beat it. I spent my day at the 50-yard line, dancing, doing what I do best, stepping with my stepping friends. So we had a good time. I stepped until the hours of the night, 6 hours of stepping. My feet are like, ooh, let's rest. But I love it. That's what I do. That's my pastime, my passion. I do like house music too, but given the choice, I'm probably gonna go stepping.
You know what? So growing up, I was always small, right? Smaller than.
Yeah, little man complex.
No, I never had
He
that.
said I never had the complex.
I never had the complex.
That's for sure.
But
Sure,
yesterday, I was at the picnic and somebody referred to me as being thick.
I really hope she referred to you.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering.
She referred to me as being thick. And I was like, no.
You don't. What? You're muscular though. You're not thin.
I mean,
in my opinion.
No, I notice that every time I take off my clothes and I look in the mirror and I say, "Gosh, you're not skinny anymore." But it was just kind of it was kind of eye opening when somebody was like,
"But I'm thick." I don't know if I use thick either,
like
but you're not thin either. But why even bring that up? Why? Maybe because it's so drastically different from when they saw you.
No, she didn't see me when I was younger. Oh. She was semi complimenting me. She was actually giving. I mean, I really can't be mad because I prefer compliment and calling them thick. So it was just weird to have like a person say that to me, and she was giving me a compliment, but it was just strange because sometimes in your head you're still small, and it was weird.
The way you see
interesting,
right?
It's very
different than how other people.
Right. It's just like, oh, thick, huh? Yeah.
I'd never heard a guy being referred to as being thick. I thought that was a term for. Can I say females? I get so nervous now with women. Whether you can say females, that's the proper term. I can say females.
I don't know. It's tricky about that female usage.
I saw that in a couple. Why can't you say female? What's the difference?
It's how you say it. Because these females,
because
females
relate to sex.
Why? How?
No, not sex as in act like sex as male, female, gender. Yeah,
and not to
a woman or a human being. Because any species or any animal can be referred to as a female
dog or like female cat.
So when you refer to human beings in a certain type of, they're women and men,
not females. And it's how people use it.
I gotta go back and dust off my politically correct book.
Stezo Johns said, and thank you everybody who's chiming in on Facebook. We will be getting into the topic. Stezo John says, O'Kara got hashtag me too'd. James Smith, hey, how you doing? The appropriate moniker for a man is bountiful. So do you call? I've never called a man bountiful either, but I wouldn't call him thick. I would say muscular, but maybe you could be thick without being muscular. I wouldn't even bring that up, but if it's a positive, I don't know. That's a good one. What is the proper term for a man? The equivalent of thick for a woman is what for a man? So give me the proper term. Cherie Thomas said, we call male body parts thick, like neck and calves. Example, a football player has a thick neck. A soccer player has thick thighs. What y'all talking about? Stezo, check out Stezo Radio, because women are overreacting. You can't say female sweetheart or anything no more. You really can. It really is a very touchy subject on how you use it though. I don't think it's that and I'm not sure if I used it correctly. But I do think it's how you use it, because you do know when somebody says these females, and they'll say something.
Does it make it better if they say these women?
Yes.
Does it?
These women.
These women over there. Yeah. Does that make it better?
I think so. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
To a lot of women to do.
To women, yes.
A lot of women.
How you the term female.
But you know what? I have to admit that you can sometimes tell mentalities by the words that they use.
Buff, yes, swole. I like that, James. You're right.
Well, look at what James. No, Stezo said buff or swole.
Look that was Stezo who said buff or swole.
Start calling them by their genetic makeup. XX or XY.
Hey, XY chromosome. Well, it'll be very accurate with that. Mark Quinn said, "Hi, Mark Quinn. All my favorites are on today." Mark Quinn said, "Women are thick, men are swole." Right. Yeah, swole. Much better than saying thick. Right. Yeah, I think thick is for the ladies. But what do I know? But yes, no more females. We're gonna start high XY chromosome. But I'd have to learn the correct term because I may be calling them a. I got to learn my proper chromosomes if I'm going to use it that way.
It might look like a XX or XY.
Women, right?
You don't know.
I don't know. That's why I said I better use it correctly if I'm going to use it.
What is it?
I'll have to study
XY is males. Okay. Hey, look.
Female.
I haven't studied the reproduction system all the way yet.
What's that word?
Female flies aren't equal to women.
So, okay.
I got you. Okay. You're saying that women is different.
Exactly. Yes. So that is the difference of calling someone a female and saying women. So we're talking about what happened to the good man. And I think we wanted to start off by the definition of good. What is a good man? What does one consider a good man to be? So, and I think when people say good men there's no, or a real too, I think there are no good men out here anymore, things like that. What is the definition of a good man?
I would say the definition of a good man might be somebody kind, caring, somebody who is someone who is into you, someone who is got his finances in order, somebody who is and I really don't want to go into the what. I want to go into the who the person is. Somebody who is gentle, kind, caring, loving, compassionate, and things like that are things that make up a good man.
So, okay. Kara, you answer that, please.
So I would say a good man has the qualities of a good person, where honest, responsible.
There you go. Let's ask one of those.
Basically, take care of their business. All right. So whether that be financially, and then I think as far as that, I think the distance is where a good man becomes a good husband, good boyfriend, and then I think he has all of those qualities, and then he has what I would describe as an attractive personality. And I think that a lot of times that is where people feel as if men who are like good people get taken advantage of. I think that good men or good people who get taken advantage of don't have attractive personalities. And that's why you see a lot of self-proclaimed good men complain.
I'm going to throw in real quick. We have one guest on his way. He's a good man and stuck in traffic right now. So he'll be here shortly, our other guest today. So a lot of people are saying the definition, Marquin said the definition of a good man is relative. And I do believe that to be so as well, because you will see certain people call someone that person isn't a good man, but it seems like their reasoning for them saying they're not a good man is all based on personal interactions with them that are solely based on their interaction with each other. Have you noticed that at all? Or?
Say that one more time.
And so people, a lot of the comments are saying being a good man is relative. And I was just trying to give an example of why it could be deemed as relative. And I do see James Smith is saying it's not relative. And so that's an interesting point. I guess he's saying being a good man is not relative, but I think it is. What do you think?
I don't think it's relative. I think it's relative to people. I think it might be relative to people who are trying to see if this is the kind of man I want. But I think being a good human being
is not relative.
It's definitive. You can. Yeah. What makes a good man is the same thing that makes a good human being.
Right.
Good character, good integrity, good good morals, kind, gentle, good character, things like that. Principles are see, those are the things that make a good man. But Wanda, I would venture to say, though, many of us are confusing what a good man is and what it means to be good at being a man. Very different.
Say that again.
There is a difference between being a good man and being good at being a man.
So maybe so Toussaint said good is subjective. I'm good to a whole lot of people and a complete ass to a whole lot of others. So I guess that's how I yes, that person is good, but someone may not see that person as good based on their own personal actions. No.
So, all right. So, and that is where integrity actually comes in, because that is the consistency of being a certain way across the board. Like you will see, like I know guys personally who are, to me, good people, but they're monsters when. And so you would say, for me, he's a good guy. For her, she may see him totally different, because when he deals with her, he lies or he cheats or he, does this and he does that. So in that sense, I guess you could say the relativity was relative.
If you're a good person, are you lying and cheating? Are you still considered a good person when you do those things?
Well, and that's
yes.
that's the point. The point is that who you do, how someone perceives you. Like I said, for me, this person may tell me the truth. He might be honest to me. He may all of that. But when he deals with women, it may be different. So sometimes it's just a matter on who they're interacting with and how that person will perceive them.
But to James' point, they're still good. They're just not good at being a man.
There is a humongous difference between being a good man and being good at being a man. And this is why some people feels it's relative, because a good man may not necessarily be good at being a man itself. However, a person who is good at being a man to some people won't seem like a good man. And I'm going to give you an example of that. So a good man is someone who is kind, gentle, warm, and things like that. And so if you ask a good man, can you and I go out to dinner tonight? And a good man looking at his finances, he might say, I've got X number of dollars for this week. If I take her out to dinner this week, then I'm going to have to not pay X, Y, or Z. And he'll say, you know what? I'm a good man. She's hungry. Let's go. That's a good man. A person who is good at being a man has boundaries, sets identity, sets limitations. So a person who's good at being a man will immediately say no. I can't do that this week. One of the key principles about being good at being a man is, can you establish boundaries? And good men oftentimes don't say no, which is why it appears as though women look for the bad boy. Have you ever heard that saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why good women go for bad boys? What the difference here is, bad boys have perceived bad guys have the ability to say absolutely not. We ain't doing that. They have the ability to put their feet down or their foot down. And so there is a humongous difference between someone who is perceived as a good man and then someone who is perceived as being good at being a man.
So Toussaint says, let's stop the confusion. What most women deem as good are men who capitulate to their to their needs, beta men. So it's kind of what you're saying, right. that a beta man will just say yes. And I don't want to use the alpha and beta because I don't want to get in that argument. We're not about to get into that argument, but of who is alpha and who is beta. But we're just going to use since, like we said, a good man. A woman is, because he bent to her needs, he's going to be deemed as being a good guy
until he isn't. Because what I'm learning that women discover is, initially they want you to bend to their needs, and he's a good man. But when she needs him to be good at being a man, she gets frustrated because she then tends to have to run the relationship.
So this is actually what I was talking about when I was making a distinction between a man being a good man and then a man having an attractive personality. Because the reality is that I personally think all women know when a man should tell them no.
They do.
And
All women should know.
No,
all
they
women
not should.
all women know when they're asking something and the man should say no. Even if they want it, they know I'm going too far with this. He should say no, right? And as a man, when she knows you should say no, you better say no. Because once you don't, then the whole dynamic changes and your personality becomes less attractive and it becomes less respected. And eventually that's when you start to get taken advantage of, not appreciated and things of those natures. And I guess that is part of what he's describing as being good as a man.
Yeah. So there's this book called No More Mr. Nice Guy. Many good men are seen as nice guys. And nice guys actually resent agreeing to things that they don't want to agree to.
Exactly.
They end up resenting that. And so in her mind, he looks like he changed or he's acting funny towards me. But what you're dealing with is a person who is agreeing to something that they don't really agree to, and they're resenting you in the process when they do it. And that is a person who might be a good man, but not good at being a man. Because one of the things a good man, my father told me, one of the things a good man does, a man who's good at being a man, his yes is yes, his no is no. When he says yes, he means yes fully. When he says no, he means no fully. So a man is like a rock, unmovable, unshakable. A foundation in the house, a solid foundation of which you can stand on. And a lot of good men have to bend to accommodate. That's wishy-washy. Have you ever had a man who you say you are inconsistent? He's inconsistent because he's trying to capitulate to inconsistent requests. And so that is a good man. But that's not a man who's good at being a man.
I get it, I think. So someone said, John said, no, they don't. Not true. So I'm not sure what you're saying is not true. Expound on that, John. And everyone, you can always call in 708-223-8953. We're listening to He Said, She Said. With me, Wanda B, and my team here on IntellectualRadio.com. And we are talking about what happened to all the good men. But I think we're going to probably more explain the whole topic of good men and how people perceive good men to be. So Jamel said, bro, what is his Facebook? I got to follow him. Oh, yes. Some people call him preacher on Facebook, our friends, our own personal friends. But like I said, he is the life coach for He Said, She Said, and also my own personal certified life coach. That's why I bring him in here all the time. I just love him. So yes, you can find him on. That's his real government name right there, y'all. Y'all can find him right there. Tucson said, but consistency is not a natural human trait. If he's consistent, he's capitulating anyway.
I disagree.
What do you say about that?
I disagree with that.
You disagree with that?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I think as people or as men, however you want to describe it, so if you a good person, then you a good person, or you should be a good person. So if, for instance, if my friends know me as a certain type of person, my coworkers should know me as a certain type of person. People on the street should know me as a certain type of person. If you live by a principle of that, I'm going to be good, then you should be good across the board. Now, maybe there are, I'm not saying that you're not capable having a bad moment, but if you're consistently bad to people, then you're not consistently a good person. So I don't see how you would describe yourself that.
Let me articulate. Let me expound upon that. There are some times where you cannot be consistently a good person to people because their request may violate your principle. Or their request may violate your current need. I will give you an example. I run a company. I got 35, 40 people who work under me. And if I'm good by everybody's definition, the place will run amok. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so sometimes to some people, I have to say, you know what? The answer to that request is absolutely not. And here's why. And to that person in that moment, their request may seem reasonable, but I don't seem like a good person for denying that. But when in reality, to the overall goal of the company or the organization or the mission, I am consistent in keeping the mission. And so again, what makes a man good at being a man is he understands mission first. Because you all have heard me talk about submission. You can't ask somebody to be subject to the mission if you don't first, as a man, know what the mission is.
And all right, so
okay, 1 second, please. I'm going to hold that thought. Oh, we have a caller. Well, 1 second. We are going to take a quick break. You are listening to. You know what? We'll take this caller first. Sorry about that. Hit the on button for me there, James. Hi, caller. You called in a He Said, She Said with Wanda B. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Larry.
All right. How's it going?
All right. I'm a member of the He Said, She Said.
Oh, I appreciate you calling in. Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about some other things in my life as far as, things. But to address the subject at hand, it's kind of a question / comment. I want to come out and say this, me being a musical artist, of course I'm trying to, I have to tiptoe around things about how I really feel because you don't want to alienate people.
Oh, just go on, put it out there. Go on, just tell us.
All right. I'm fed up with this good man. Because it just seems like, and don't get me wrong, our sisters have been through a lot, and we don't always treat our sisters well, and I get it, and we need to do better with that. But it's also, black people, and I say black people, African Americans. So when I hear this term, good man, good woman, to me, it's like, who are we to define what's good to anybody? Because you only know what's good to you at the moment, number one. Number two, I don't think that I have to prove myself to anyone to show them how good I am, because at the end of the day, I'm a person, I'm a human being. All that alpha, I'm going to try not to curse, but that alpha and beta is BS, is some European nonsense that unfortunately we as African Americans have fell victim to their cultures, their ways, and our ways of looking at male and female relationships are status quo dominated. What's a good man? The typical process. Oh, he has a good job. Oh, his finances are in order. Oh, he got an apartment. Oh, he has this. Okay, you're talking about what he has. That's great. Now, who is he as a person? Oh, he said hello to my mom. Oh, he's a good person. He's a part of this organization. He does community work. You meet any lady, and not any lady, but let's say if they hear about his job, his finances, automatically it seems like a good fit. That's for some immature women, not all. But if you hear about what he does, oh, that's cool, that's cute. Well, the first question, what kind of job do you have? Me, as a rule of thumb, I have 2 jobs. But I specifically don't tell people what I do because automatically I'm thinking you're trying to kill my pockets. You don't even know me. You haven't sat me down and see what type of person I am and how do I carry myself. Then as we progress in the conversation or maybe have a phone conversation, then we can say, okay, well, I do X, Y, and Z. That's really the standard. And some people are looking for pushovers. Basically, a good man or a good person to you is somebody who's going to do what you say. They're going to be sweet. I can yell and fuss and cuss you out, and you're to remain a gentleman at all times.
That's not a person good at being.
You know what? Thank you very much, Larry. How do I pronounce? Say it again for me.
Larry.
Larry. Thank you so much. I so appreciate you calling in. We're going to continue the discussion about what you said. We want to talk about that. So we're going to take a quick break here on IntellectualRadio.com. You've been listening to He Said, She Said with Wanda B. And And when we return, we're going to have our special guest with us to continue talking about what Laurie said and our conversation. Thank you.
I believe in you. Just do the best that you can. See, I know it ain't easy being a man, but I believe that you will stay the good man you are. Oh, you're a good man. You're a good man. Yeah, yeah. You're a good man. Honey, you know you. Honey, you know you are. A good man. Oh, you're a good man. You're a good man. Oh, yeah. You're a good man. Just say the good man. Oh, there's nothing from you that I can get. You've been working over 40 years and still haven't retired yet. Oh, there is nothing from you that I can get. You've been working for over 40 years and still haven't retired yet. Oh, you're a good man. You're a good man. Take good care of me. You're a good man. Oh, you're so hardworking. Honey, you know you are. Yes, you are. A good man. I don't care what they say you are. You're a good man. You're so good to me.
Hey, this is me, Wanda B, and you are tuned in to He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. We are at He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. We're an iHeart radio station, and we have been talking about what has happened to the good men. And you were just listening to the tunes, the sounds of Eva Ruwe, who has the beautiful song that's being played on the stations now. 106.3, it was on last week. She's also an intellectual radio host. She's here on Mondays at 11 a.m. on Becoming Dateable. So get the song, You're a Good Man, because it flows with this. And I looked up once, there are very few songs about good men. Well, I Googled it and I went all through YouTube, and there are very, very few songs about good men. So you got to check out Eva Ruwe's album, Good Man, Please. It's out now. So we have been talking about what happened to the good men, and I'm going to reintroduce my panel to you. I have James Borchet.
What's up? What's up?
The certified life coach for He Said, She Said, and my own personal one on the side too. And then the none other than two-time NBA champion, three-time NBA All-Star, the Mark Aguirre.
Yes, sir.
Yay.
Glad to be here.
He also has a show here on IntellectualRadio.com. You can listen to On the Mark on the Mark, here on Intellectual Radio tonight, Sunday, 9 p.m. He's part of our Fun Day Sunday crew now. So you have to check his show out, All Things Basketball. And I mean, really, really in depth. And even for the ladies like me who know surface basketball, it's really in depth of hearing some of the history behind it, college sports. As a mom, I get to hear some tips on being a mom of a child that plays sports. It's really a show for everyone. So check that out tonight, 9 p.m. on IntellectualRadio.com.
Yeah, I can deal with your AUs.
Yeah,
I can deal with those issues.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Or try to.
Man.
And then Okara. So Okara Hollis, who is the woman whisperer, I like to call her. Marcel.
Yeah, he's
the woman whisperer.
Well, I'm going to learn something here then. I come to learn something. Let me get my notepad ready. I might learn what's going on.
So, Mark, we're going to fill you in. We were talking about what happened to all the good men, but we started out by trying to come up with the definition then of how do you define good men? What do people consider good men? And it came up that some people felt it was relative. The word good man or the term good man was relative, that what one person thinks is a good man may not be what someone else thinks is a good man. But then James gave us the term that there's a difference between being a good man and being good at being a man.
Yes.
And that is sometimes confused. So that's where we were. And Laurie had just called in with his opinion of it. And thank you so much for being a part of our group. He said, she said on Facebook. And please join our group if you're tuned in now. We'd love to have you. We have these same discussions in the group. So go back to that, the difference between being a good man and being good at being a man.
So I think a lot of men actually wrestle with this, because especially when you're with a woman that you're into, or you confess or profess to love, it is difficult to be good at being a man, because sometimes everything in your fiber says we got to say no. This is not what's best for us. But then you want to be, and society teaches you to cater to the woman that you have. And sometimes what you need to accomplish, and what you want to do, are in conflict with one another. But a person who has been trained or is good at being a man knows how to handle that conflict with no problem. But a good man typically capitulates. And what happens is a good man starts to resent a good woman in the process of developing together, because what you may have agreed to do may be counterproductive to what your mission or what the mission of the relationship is. I will give you a prime example. There was a couple who wanted to buy a home out in, and I'm going to switch the places up so in case these couples are listening. There's a couple that I wanted to buy a home out in, let's just say, Plainfield. Beautiful area, great neighborhood. They just built this thing in a new development. House was $140,000. If they had bought it, the house today will be worth over $400,000. The wife said, I don't want to live out here. I don't want to commute. They're both together saying we need to build wealth together. And the husband said, this is our plan to build wealth. I don't want to commute. I don't want to commute. I don't want to commute. They ended up buying a home in like Robbins. And then if you all are familiar with the Chicago area, Robbins and Plainfield are very different. Long story short, he capitulated to her when they had to fix up the house and the kids couldn't go out and play. She turned around and got mad and blamed him. And the whole time he resented her for living in Robbins. Now, years later, they come to me talking about, and first thing he said, if we had bought this, we would have been able to sell this home for $300,000 profit. Now, this is where I share with him, that's because you tried to be a good man and just agree with your wife to keep a happy home. When you run into conflicts like this, it's time to be good at being a man. And if this is where we're staying, and because this is where we can afford, and this is what's best in the future, that's what it is.
Well, let me ask you this, and I'm just chiming in from this, is that when I look at those things, is that you have an expertise. Like if I want to have somebody represent me in a legal manner, I'm going to go get a lawyer. Okay. If I want, if there's something health-wise, I'm going to go to a doctor.
Yeah.
So if you and I, or you and your partner, whoever they are, and we sit down and talk about it, there's some things that I have to hand over to you and be a partner with you because your expertise is better at it than mine. But the other side is that whether that's good or bad, at the end of the day, I have to live with your decision that you made and not bring it back on you.
Yes.
I got to say, okay, you know what? If your partners know more about real estate than I do, or than you do. Okay, well, you know what? That's your area. Saying that
right.
If that's your area, then I have to say whether this turns out good or bad. Okay, I have to lean on you for the expertise. I see it, and I want to switch real quick to sports. I see it in sports.
No, that's perfect.
I see it in sports in the fact that if there's let's take football or basketball. I think, Wanda, we talked about football, and when it comes down to football, there might be your other part of you might have more expertise in that area.
Yes.
So listen, I really know if I want my child to play football, but then hold on, this is my child too. and I'm gonna say these are the things that we have to look out for, and this is where to go. Now I have to lean on expertise, but if it doesn't go like it was supposed to go, I still have to go with you because of your expertise. I can't say because a mistake was made, all of a sudden I'm going to jump on you. So when I look at that particular part, is that I have to surrender to you, whether it's good or bad. You know, I have to say you're the expert at it, and I'm with you, whether it goes good or bad. And then, but the coming back part that you said a minute ago, that's something you're going to see all the time. You know,
It is.
And I'm not. I mean, I think that's an ugly way to be. You know, when you say, all right, oh, you're just waiting for it to go bad. And then all of a sudden, if it goes bad, then I'm down your throat, you know.
You know how many people do that in relationships, though? A relationship is supposed to be a partnership, a team. We talked about this the last time I was on your show. It's supposed to be a team. It's supposed to be a partnership. And what you bring to the team should be a little bit different what the other person brings to the team.
I would hope
so that we can vibe off each other. We can work off it. If I'm a good shooter and you're a good passer, we make a good team. If I'm a good shooter, you're a good shooter, and don't neither one of us pass, then we don't make a good team. And so if your expertise is real estate and my expertise is I don't know, business development. When we have a conversation about real estate, one of us should yield. Whether it's the woman who's got the expertise in real estate and the male who's in business. If she's got the expertise, that's when you yield.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's when you yield.
But the issue is that not everybody is a real estate agent. You got two people who are not real estate agents, so you know both people feel like their opinions is valid, and when two people feel like their opinions is valid, then it comes down to who wins or who opinion you go with the most. And that's where it gets tricky, because like when it comes to finances, it's not like everybody in the household or everybody in the couple, one person is a accountant or something. That's not the situation most of the time. Like if I married an accountant, obviously, you know, she would. But if I'm like if I work in a warehouse and she's a teacher, who's more qualified?
Well, you know, I
and that's where the confusion comes in, because you know, unless somebody has a certain type of history or whatever, it becomes who's more qualified, whose opinion matters most. And that's where there's a problem. It's not really as simple as, you know, somebody having an expertise, because a lot of times that's not the situation.
So does that come? I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mark.
No, I understand exactly where he's going, and that, you know, and that's when you talk about people who are, I get an expert. Okay, if I get an expert, it still has to fall on one individual saying that, okay, you and I both don't know about it. We both go see a realtor or whoever that person may be. Okay, well, they explain from A to Z what we're going to do, and this is the way I think. Only the way I think. I mean, I'm not pushing on anybody. Would they explain A to Z what we're going to do, what's the value, blah, 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 blah. And then at that point, we both understand that, and then we say, okay, well, if this is the way we're going to go, right? This is the way we're going to go. And then after you say this is the way we're going to go, okay, now somebody has to take the lead because we decided this is the way we're going to go. So if, okay, you know what? Well, you know what? I think that we decided and we know which one to go, and now we've agreed on what we're going to do. So who's going to take the lead of that? Okay, I'll take the lead, but we're still on the same page. Mm-hmm. We're still on the same page at that point. But we just said, I'm not an expert, you're not an expert, but we know what we're doing. Right. And you're still on the page. Now you can't go to the thing that really caused the influx in it, is the fact that I can say, well, you made that decision, and now all of a sudden you are the one. But I think what you said, that's a safe way to go in men saying that let's go to the expert. The expert said that. You know?
But see, that's a definition of someone who is good at being a man. You know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, and then you staff I always say you staff your weaknesses. If neither one of us have an expertise in money, then I need to go and find someone who can guide us in finances. Mm-hmm.
Let me bring up, and John, I do want to get to your comment in a second, but I want to bring up, because I'll lose it, and I lost it. I got it. Toussaint, what Toussaint said about how can you surrender to someone when you lack respect. And I think that's the hard part in some relationships, is one person may not respect the other person enough to let them lead this situation, or I don't see the comments, so it's hard to. Do you see it? Read it for me.
Toussaint's or John's? I'll read Toussaint's. Toussaint says, Can surrender happen when respect lacks? Is a social standard for good? If the social standard for good is doing, most people only respect capitulation. And black men are at the bottom of every social standard. So I agree with Okira here. So in other words, how can she respect you, or how can she surrender if she does not respect you? And what she may only respect is when you capitulate to her wants and needs. But I would counter that with, she doesn't respect you when you capitulate. I have talked to so many women in marriages who they got what they wanted, but then they lost respect for him in the process because he was a pushover giving it to her.
Because they knew he should have said
because
no.
they knew he should have said no. They knew he should have said no. There was one woman who came to me and said, I got everything I could ever have asked for, and I'm still not happy. And so I want a divorce.
Wow. Wow.
But
I'm so serious.
Wow.
But you know what?
Wow.
There are thousands of those. Hundreds of thousands.
But no, you see it all. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
But you see it all. You see it all the time. You listen. I don't care what anybody says. Anything that is easily given is not appreciated. It's that simple. Just like we're sitting here breathing air and oxygen right now. We not even thinking about it. But if somebody came and put a plastic bag over our faces, we'll give an arm for it. But as long as it's easy, there is no appreciation for it. If a woman thinks every time she asks you something, she's gonna get a yes, eventually she won't appreciate you, and she's gonna look at you like you a punk. Because anytime somebody is always agreeing, somebody's not being honest.
That you just hit it. When you always agree, she actually doesn't lose respect first. She loses trust. Because she know you. Let me tell you what I learned about when you all can smell someone who's being dishonest a mile away. You all know when somebody's lying a mile away. So when you agree to something that you don't actually agree to, you're not honest, and she can't trust you. So trust leaves first, and then she does not respect you. You hit the nail on the head when you said you're not being honest.
So Toussaint said Mark has a different experience because he's had NBA money. That's not the common black experience. I bet most women come to his table with surrender.
Whatever
you say, Mark.
Well, Mark, he might have a point.
Yes, Mark, we closing the Robin.
I wanna tell you, I understand what you're saying, but I want to tell you, believe it or not, it's actually easier. And he's saying it's actually easier because you can be there from day one, meaning that, okay, from you coming and we're trying to, at an early age, trying to date or whatever you're trying to do, is the fact is that I can come as who I am. I can totally as who I am. You know what I'm saying? I mean, okay, you're who you are. I'm who I am. And now let's see where it ends up, meaning that how are you? Good to see you. And you are you and I am me. That means that if I am talking to you, we're talking amongst just simple things. We're talking to things that you want to talk about. We're talking about the things I want to talk about. And then when you're talking about a person that has wealth or, coming into a wealth, that's easier because now at the drop of a hat, I can see your tendencies to be dragged toward wealth. It happens so easily. It happens very easily. You can see when, if you're doing something, it's a hot dog and a Coke. All right. And then it's all of a sudden the most exclusive restaurant in Chicago. And then I'm not going back to that exclusive restaurant. It's a hot dog and a Coke for a while. It's no, I'll see you when I see you. No, it's that. And then in a short period of time, it'll show its face. It'll show its face really quick. Is the fact that I'm so after you. Is that okay? What are you doing?
She started chasing.
Yeah. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Where are you going? What's happening? Oh, what? Hold it.
You start roasting stewed bunnies in your kitchen.
A person that's comfortable within themselves, it'll be like, they'll make it as simplistic as it should be. Meaning that, well, I'm just over here doing this, and taking a little walk. What do you want to do?
Mm.
It shows itself, believe me, because that person will gravitate to that avenue of wealth and you will see it coming. But that person that's themselves all the time, their comments and what they do, it'll stay in its same format. It won't change. And then you can see that person, you might deal with that person, but you'll see that person 10 years from now and they're still the same individual and still doing the same thing, and it doesn't affect them. But let me tell you, that little money thing and that wealth, it'll affect you quick. I mean, let me tell you, really quick. I pick you up in the Chevy. I don't pick you up in a Porsche.
Right, you know what I'm saying?
I pick you up. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, we're not doing it anymore.
We got an Uber.
We're going Uber.
We got an Uber.
Uber to the hot dog.
Exactly. And let's go for a walk.
But it's serious. That he feels like that. I mean, it's true. He's saying it's true.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
But that's to Toussaint's point. And I'm going to use Toussaint. I'm going to coin that Toussaint's phrase. But that's because most people only know transactional relationships. They only know that, and because that society has played a humongous part in two things. Number one, the transactional relationship paradigm, and number two, men's subconscious ideology to please women.
But don't you think that's like I kind of think that's and I'm so glad I'm here because I do yoga, and I do yoga, and a lot of men are scared of yoga because they think it's kind of girly, I guess. I don't know what they think.
I just can't bend like that. No.
Well, I try to. I don't bend like that, totally, but I try to. And, I
actually want to start doing it.
You should, I mean, it's great, Well, for me, with all the aches and pains I got, man, I need it. But, when you talk about things like that, and when I go to yoga, and most of the ladies, there are women in there. And and when women around women and they're dominating, they take the floor. Mm-hmm. And I'm just the guy that's sitting on the side listening. So they talk about things that are really true that they think about, And so, in those instances, as women think as it pertains to men, it's the fact that from them is that most of them, as I see it, want to not surrender, but want you to lead. They want you to lead.
So true.
But you have to lead in with the right gloves on. You can't lead in a dominant I'm finna right. You can't. You have to lead with the right gloves on.
You have to
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go.
You have to lead with the right gloves on, saying that I totally respect you.
Exactly.
And you put that respect out there, so there's no question in her mind that you respect her.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you tell her that you respect her, then you can go with an honest approach to what I'm getting ready to do.
Yes.
Or what I think I'm getting ready to do. But if you don't go there first, but then a lot of women, let me just back up, have that past that they've been in families that women have been, like we just discussed. So their man negative has been on since they were little girls. Don't trust no man, don't believe in no man, don't diss no man. So any little thing that goes wrong, that's over.
That's over.
That's over. I'm done.
Because I was just about to say, you have to show them that you respect them. I think that at some point as men, when you have a person who has done something for a certain amount of time, they've led households, they lead at work, they do all of that. You have to take that into consideration when you are now introducing the aspect of you leading them in a way. You have to consider that. We have to have some empathy. Somebody is not going to just be able to change a habit that they've had forever and then now all of a sudden just surrender. And I think that, when you're able to, one, show them that you do respect them and what they have been through and what they have accomplished on their own, and then you also show them consistently that you are somebody who is capable of making, good decisions yourself, then, gradually they will, give that to you. But there is no way that you can expect for somebody to just be able to do that at a drop of a dime. It's just not realistic. None of us can do that. None of us.
If they respect you,
they
wouldn't do it.
No,
if
they respect you, it is still a hard process to.
Should it be though?
It
listen,
is. If you're used to sitting in one seat your whole life,
it's just. Does anybody know how difficult it is to break a habit? I mean, it is a habit. It's in their head. It's in their being. It's difficult. I'm not saying that, it's understandable for her to fight you at all times, but it is still something that she has to get used to because she wasn't doing it.
That's the whisperer right there. But isn't that the kid gloves? Meaning that I have to.
But you have, yes. So that's what it takes. Like, I mean, if I want somebody to stop smoking, you have to be understanding that they're going to maybe, have some times when they may grab a cigarette one of the times. Or if you want somebody to stop eating ice cream or stop eating fats or stop eating bread or something, you have to understand that at some point they may eat some bread. They may get a hamburger. They may do some of these things. That's just when you've had 30 years, 35, 40 years of doing something, to just think that all of a sudden some guy you're going to be able to come in and because, you know what you can do, that they're just going to drop this cold turkey.
But that's what I mean.
Can anybody at this table really just do that?
Well, I think that's what I'm just saying. And you guys are expert. I'm not expert. I'm just saying from my own opinion is that's when I think that's the kid gloves, meaning that I asked you to do this, and I know at sometimes it's not going to be that. And what I have to do is not be the kind of guy and be like, I know you're going to have those minutes. Now I have to be kid gloves at that point and being like, okay, I understand you feeling this way about the thing. And I want to listen to your side of it, but then we can go to the kid glove and discuss it. Then I can get you at a point where you understand what I'm saying. I understand what you're saying. And then we decide what's best in the decision that we made. I can't be the ruler,
right?
I can't be the ruler.
There's a difference between.
But if we agree day one, saying this is what we're going to do, and then you have some reservation about it after we get into the motion, now I can't be the ruler. Say you told me, and I'm gonna. No, I have to be kid gloves. Look, this is why we did this thing, and I don't think if you don't have kid gloves at any time, in business you got to have kid gloves,
right? No, that's what I'm saying.
If you're not going to succeed, if you say this is what I want out of my business and this is what I want to, there's going to be hiccups, there's going to be headaches, there's going to be changes, there's going to be moves, and if you go in like the gangster of all gangsters, now you're going to lose the respect that you had with your workers, with your people. So you got to say, okay, I got to go into this thing with kid gloves and say, look, this is what it's doing for us. This is how I got to move it. You can't just beat people up. And only me.
That's
the way I would approach it.
That's what I'm saying.
So I want to make sure we bring it back, because some people might be wondering, well, what does this have to do with being a good man or being good at being a man? What we're showing you here is how people who are good at being men think and how we approach difficult situations in relationships, business, politics, on coaching, basketball, in any given direction. If you have been taught how to be good at being a man, your whole thought process is different. Your whole entire paradigm is different. There's a John says you folks are unknowingly veered away from the topic because good men do not make the statement the topic makes. That is true. Typically, when you hear the term good men, it's from women. But what millions of men have said is a woman don't know nothing about being a man. She can't define what a good man is because she does not know what. For example, she can't tell you what happened when testosterone kick in. And you looking at her, it's like crack. And you looking at her in her lingerie or negligee, then she asks you, can we move to Robbins as opposed to can we move to she can't, you cannot stimulate that. So the only way to really start to put a proper perspective or picture out is for men to have the difficult conversation about what does manhood really look like from a male's perspective? And so our hope is that when enough people see this, they will begin to identify with, okay, that's the true picture of manhood. A man who just acquiesced to my every request, that is not a true picture of manhood, because some people have wrongfully defined what manhood is.
Well, what's in each nature? I mean, the nature of each individual. Meaning that what's in your nature of being a woman? What's in your nature, and what's in your nature of being a man? A woman looks for a man to be a provider, looks to be a leader. That's what comes from day one. That's what it is. Okay, so if you're a provider and you're a leader, now that's what from nature. For all the way it's expected to be.
Now,
okay?
but how many men are struggling with that's the reason that's one of the main reasons for this show topic. You know how many men are struggling with their true nature? That I want to lead, I'm supposed to lead, but I'm scared to lead. You know how many men are terrified to lead? I serve in a group as a coach where there are about 5,000 men, and most of them have given leadership or the king seat in the house to the woman. Because listen, check this out. When you do say and be everything that she needs you to be versus what you are called to be, who's leading who? She's leading you because you're following her every mood, her every request, her every desire. She's actually the leader.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. And this takes me back to the dating process, because I always feel like men should initiate contact, right? They should call more often. I think they should. I'm not really real good at planning dates, but I think you should initiate the dates. I just think you should do that because it shows that when you initiate, you leave. If you have a woman who's calling you all the time, a woman who's planning the dates, a woman who's, she's doing all that, you're basically following her lead. If she decides when you get married, she decides all of this stuff, she's got to ask you, she's got to force you, then you're basically following her lead. By the time y'all get married, it's going to continue that, because things don't change when you get married. They only get, they become more. And so at that point, you're not leading anything. You're just following. And I think that what ends up happening is that I don't think women are generally built for that. I don't know any woman, even women who do everything. I don't know any woman who really, really want to do that. Now they may be forced to, they may be used to doing, but I don't think that there is any woman that I've ever met that genuinely wants that for herself. And whenever they meet a man, with their really, I think their deep down desire is that he is going to take, if not all of it, most of it away.
So, I'm sorry. Well, I don't know. I kind of think a little different. Is that I want you to know that you have to communicate with me on whatever it is, and I'm going to communicate with you on whatever it is. But to be in a position saying that, I want you to grow as much as you can grow, meaning that as my friend or my partner or my whatever you are, I want you to grow as much as you can grow. That means you have to think of yourself in some instances as looking at things as controlling them and doing what you want to do. But at the end of the day, when you come back and we talk about what it is that I am not going to crush you from your ability to grow as a person, as an individual in this world, as a job. I want you to grow at those things. But then you got to come to that thing of saying a mutual respect thing, meaning that this is the territory that I am coveting for us. This is what I have to do. So respect what I have to do, but I want you to grow. You have to grow. If you don't grow, you get into the thing where you outgrow your partner, and if you stifle them too much, you're going to outgrow your partner. So I want you to grow. But at the end of the day, saying that mutual respect thing, like if we have a mutual respect thing, it's like, okay, look, Wanda, listen, I understand where you're coming from, whatever issue we're talking. I totally understand where you're coming from. But, I really, for us too, I really feel like I would rather go in this direction and not blindly, and I want to tell you why. Now I can at least give you the ability to say, you know what, go ahead with that. But I hate to see totally submissive women to every whim of a man. That's something that I just I just don't think it's right.
And I agree. I think part of effective leadership is allowing anyone around you to also prosper or to also improve themselves.
Well, I can love you more. I mean, it gets to a point where, oh, geez, I can lean on you. Geez, I like the fact that you can handle those things. Geez, now I'm really like, hey, she can handle that. Oh, thank you, baby. Take it off my hand. Let's talk about it. But every day you're not growing and being able to handle certain things, that could be a detriment.
So what has happened to men like that? So the question is, what has happened to men who can do that? What has happened?
You know what?
They won't let you do it.
I think,
do you really have to let a king be a king, or he's just gonna be?
What? I think it's a perfect. I think it's a perfect storm, though.
I gotta say, look,
what has happened?
I think it's a perfect storm of things. I don't, you could go into all of the societal things that has happened as far as black men are concerned. I think that for the most part, especially when it comes to just life in general, people tend to do what's easy. When it comes to men, men basically date least resistance, and so it's kind of like men date a lot of times their environment. If somebody's giving them some rhythm compared to somebody he might have to work with, he might just go with the person who's giving the rhythm because that's the least resistant. And so when you in a relationship and you are dating somebody, and I think there's certain subjects that women may be a little bit more intense about than men are, generally speaking, we just go with least resistance. And before you have it, you have men bad at being men.
You are listening to He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. We're an iHeartRadio station.
And that's just one aspect.
And we've been talking about what our topic says, what happened to all the good men. And we kind of started out with recapping what is good or what people consider to be good, and then discussing the difference between being a good man and being good at being a man. So to tie that into our show topic of what happened to all the good men, we had some people who felt like there should be more women discussing what happened to the good men. But I think, how can we actually? I've seen that written here a lot, where you should have more women on the panel. How
they would know.
How would y'all know? They might be here to ask more questions, to ask us questions, but I don't know that a woman can say to a man what the definition of a good man is, or even so. Let's get down to the nitty-gritty of this. Society has caused, and this dates back to World War II and the Industrial Revolution. Society has really been shaped so that men have been, number one, pulled out of the home. And I'm not going into the welfare. That's not even what I'm talking about. When you sent men off to war, and then you left women at home to raise kids, women left the home and had to go work. And so now you've got women in the factory, women in the grocery store, women in the classroom, everywhere. And so that generation of young men grew up subliminally being taught to cater to women. Dad's not at home. We used to live in an agricultural society. Dad used to take little Johnny, little Billy, little Mark to the farm and say, son, this is how you milk the cow. And when you get up in the morning, this is what you're supposed to think. This is how you're supposed to act. So the son got to work alongside of his father and see what a man looked like, operates, how a man moves, how a man does business deals, how a man thinks. That dynamic is missing from especially our community, from the black community. And so young men are growing up watching women live through society and thinking that is how men are supposed to operate. And so you now have a generation of 30s and 40s who don't even think like men think and are being told by society that you shouldn't think like men think. How often is masculinity under attack in society? It's under attack in our music. It's under attack in our sports. Masculinity is under attack in our clothing industry, and it's intentional. It's being peddled into the Black community at a rate that we can't stop.
You know, I agree with some of the things you said, but my whole concern, and I don't think anybody up here will have the answers, is that, you know, forgive me for saying this, but I'm concerned. I understand what you're saying, but I'm concerned about what we're trying to say. What does our future hold? You know, what does our future hold? And all I'm saying is that there's some young lady out there that might be the brain to figuring out the cure for cancer.
Agreed.
Okay, so all I'm saying is, in a statement, is that I don't want that brain stifled because they think in terms of saying that I shouldn't think in terms of having a fruitful and leading my life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
I do. I hear what you're saying.
I don't want, you know, not to say that it will, but I don't want to have the underlying thought of saying, you know, and forgive me saying is that they're, you know, the dad's taking the son out to do what he needs to do, but the daughter's at home saying that this is what you need to do. And I just don't, you know, as a society, want to see that happen, because there's so much that's going to happen in the next, you know, years and years that might be the brain, that might be the person that God puts that, you know, extra intellect in. Like what's that movie where the young lady came in and actually showed them how to get the rocket off the ground?
Hidden Figures, is that it?
Figures. So I don't want any hidden figures. You know what I'm saying? And now you have to let them be hidden figures. As a matter of fact, she was hidden figures. It was an issue in the movie where she was with the gentleman that wanted to date her. And because the way he approached her and respected her for what she did on TV, that relationship went well. You know, because at first he was like, "What are you doing here? You're an engineer." You know, so it's a tough balance thing. But on my side, you know, just me, I'm concerned about that. I'm really concerned about that.
My thing is, I don't think you could have one and not have the other. I think you can have both. I think that you can have an atmosphere where men and women can thrive together.
Yeah.
The thing is that we're saying leadership, but we're not saying you're the boss. We're not saying leadership at the cost of somebody else's prospering. That's not what that's not what I'm talking about. I just think that sometimes when you have two people, there is a time when somebody may have to take the leadership. And then even if you are the overall leader, there's time when you may have to, you know, let her lead because she knows more. I personally love dating women who I think in the classroom will do better than I did, will do better than me if they did their best and I did my best. And I think my best is pretty good. But because of the fact that I have no issue with a person who is able to, you know, do things. I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think you can do both.
Does it boil down to just respect?
It just boils down to respect.
It's just the bottom line. Does it just boil down to respect?
I think it boils down to respect, and it also boils down to knowledge. Because what I hear you saying is you want to make sure that men know the difference between leadership and rulership.
Right. Yes, and then respect, meaning that on both sides, meaning that we can come to a common ground decision if I know deep in your being you respect me and I respect you. So then at either one at one point can pull the yield button, meaning that, you know, we respect each other and we come to that, you know what, I think I like what you're about more than I do. But now that's respect to you, and the man is willing to pull that string too, saying that, you know what, what you did was, that was kind of, I think, that's the right. But in order to do that, I got to respect you enough to let you say, like you said a minute ago, I got to respect you enough to say, you know what, you got this one.
But
you
Mark,
know what I'm saying? But without thinking that I'm the candy guy and just giving you everything you want. And, you know what I'm saying? Without thinking I'm the candy guy.
But you also got to respect you. You got to respect you to be able to do that. Right.
I respect exactly. To do that, I
to be able to
respect
do that, you got to be able to respect you.
In order for her to do it to me.
Yes. And she's got to respect herself.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things that people are secretly struggling with. That they don't have enough respect for themselves to say you were right.
Yes.
Well, you know what?
You know how hard that is for some people?
Let me tell you. Let me tell you. I'm enjoying just listening to your guys' point of view, because I don't think anybody has the answer, but I think if respect is the beginning of it,
yes,
and my concern is that when I see young boys and young girls, they're being taught the wrong thing from day one.
Yes.
Day one.
That's true.
You're trying to be this thing, and like, oh, what you doing? And then the girl on his side, she being told, don't trust none of them. They this, they that. Go out there and get what you can get from them and get it. So from day one, that's separating respect for each other from day one. So when you first meet is, well, I know what she's trying to do, and she know what he's trying to do. So you ugly from day one, in most cases.
And this is the reason that I believe Wanda does this type of a show, to help people get back to a place where men respect women, women respect men respect themselves, and women respect themselves, and we can hear the he and the she.
Well, let me know when y'all get back to that.
Because
you know when you get back.
Because one of my I'm not gonna say favorite things to say, but I always look at it as when men and women, especially black men and black women, when they get together, it's kind of like two enemies trying to negotiate a truce. And we are at the point where we have like these negative perceptions of each other, and we go through this process where we trying to like, should I trust him? Should I trust her? And it's like we're trying to negotiate a truce in order to spend the rest of our lives together. And it's
I'm gonna add this last thing. I gotta step out for a minute, but only last thing I'm gonna add to this, and I think this topic is that I look at it from afar, and I don't have the best opinion. I know half of my stuff might be, but when I look at it is that the closest people around you, just like in people who are taught to be racist, these people are taught by the closest people around them how not to be different than they. Meaning that if I'm a man basher, or if I'm a woman, whatever that is, the people around him are influencers, and I'm just looking at, my little niece and my little nephew, and I look around the men around them, how they are, and then you look at the women around the kid. Not in all cases. Now, don't get me wrong in all the cases, but you said, society is teaching us to be that way. Look at all the young guys and see what most of them are being taught.
Yes. And
then look on the other side and see what all the young women are being taught. And you said, okay, when you walk out, most of the women, you said just a second ago, is that they want to know where your job is, how much you're doing. So where's that being passed down to?
Exactly.
It's being passed down
the whole thought process. So we've got to get to a place.
So the people around them, are the feeders of this type of information.
Let's take a quick break. Mark, thank you for. Are you coming back? Or are you going?
I gotta go.
Okay, we're gonna take a quick break. You're listening to He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. When we get back, we're gonna go back to our topic of discussion, and here's our musical break.
I know it's not easy being a man. I believe in you. Just do the best that you can. See, I know it ain't easy being a man, but I believe that you will stay the good man you are. Oh, you're a good man. You're a good man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're a good man. Honey, you know you. Honey, you know you are. Baby, a good man. Oh, you're a good man. You're a good man. Oh, yeah. You're a good man. Just say the man. Oh, there is nothing from you that I can get. You've been working over 40 years and still haven't retired yet. Oh, there is nothing from you that I can get. You've been working for over 40 years and still haven't retired yet. Oh, you're a good man. You're a good man. Take good care of me. You're a good man. Oh,
Hey, it's me, Wanda B, and you're listening to the sounds of Eva Bruway, Good Man. You have to check that out. Get her single that's out now, being played on the radio waves. This is He Said. She Wanda B on IntellectualRadio.com. We're not. And 599-5100, 708-599-5100. Ask for Sal. You'll be in good hands with Allstate. Tell Sal that I sent you, please. 708-599-5100 for home, auto, and life insurance. And thank you to everyone who is tuning in on Facebook. I so appreciate you. Hello, Benita. Here on intellectualradio.com at noon, part of Sunday Fun Day. And T Bizzle with the giggle in the middle, my dear co-host of Raw Checklist Mondays at 9 p.m. on intellectualradio.com. I am here with some of the fellas of He Said, She Said, the guys that make up the he's, and we have been discussing what happened to the good men and what happened to all the good men. And I think we're trying to more define, so that whole perception of good men or what happened to the good men, trying to redirect and change the framework, the thinking of that whole concept to be something different. We had my dear friend Mark Aguirre here of NBA fame here joining us on the panel of the discussion. So different than basketball form, I think. So you have to check out his show, Mark on the Mark, here on intellectualradio.com at 9 p.m. He's also part of our Sunday Fun Day crew. And so 9 p.m. on intellectualradio.com. You can find him on Facebook. If you're on my Facebook page, I will share the show tonight. So please check him out and he joined us to talk. And he was one of the he's today to talk relationships. So what happened to all the good men?
So I'm going to read what Toussaint said, because this gets into what happened to them. Toussaint said, "We respect money. If we respected anything else, teachers would make a reputable salary," which is true. He said, "We are led by wealth. Men by nature look to lead, but without the economic backing, women can't follow, and that leads to the disconnect."
I think that
is extremely true. I'm in this group now where they're actually teaching, bringing out the warrior in you, and there are 4 core things that men that men who are good at being man always address on a daily basis. That's fitness, faith, family, and finances. And all of those are in balance. Fitness, faith, family, and finance, in that order. And if you don't have, if a man is living below his financial standard or paycheck to paycheck, it adds a level of stress to men that cause men to sedate, that cause men to go numb, that cause men to look for sedation. something to alleviate the stress. And here's how some men do that. Some men go inward to alleviate the stress. Some men pick up a hobby. Some men play video games. Some men do what are some of the things men do to sedate? Video games, drink. Some get turned to drugs. Some turn to sex or promiscuity. Some turn to anything that will help them stop being present or in the moment. Because in the moment, you're dealing with your reality that I don't have. I'm living in a scarcity mentality. I don't have enough. And so you can have a man who is present in the home, but has no presence in the home because he is focused on what he is lacking. And that's the economic backing. I know one of the major ways men sedate is they dive deeper into work. If I work harder, at least it will look like I'm trying to do. And you can work harder at a job that you already got a salary. So whether you work hard or not, the pay is still the same. You know how many men are sedating? Oh, cheating as well. There's somebody just say cheat. You know how many men sedate? It's a sad reality. How many men are actually present but have no presence? And so if you want to know what happened to the good man, one of the major things is economic instability has stifled the king or the lion that is in the man. I'll pause there.
That was huge. You're listening to He Said, She Said on IntellectualRadio.com. And go ahead, Okira.
So what you were just saying, do you think that men are, mentally weak, emotionally weak? Instead of finding a solution to the issue, go into sedation. What do you think that's about?
Men go into sedation when they can't find an issue. There is no solution. But in their mind.
Okay.
In their mind, there is no solution. I work here. I got a bachelor's degree. I'm making good money, but ends don't meet.
But there's always a solution.
Yes, there is. But when you particularly can't find the solution, what do you do?
All right, and that's okay. So that's what I want to talk about. Well, I mean, I guess we probably don't have enough time to get into that sort of thinking. So because basically that's what the issue becomes, is how we think, how we approach things. And so you have a man who's faced with the issue, and for some odd reason, he can't find a solution to the issue. But we all know that there is a solution. The solution may be, something else. It may be, start a home business, get another job, work on yourself to get out of the job you're in order to, because I think that part of the issue with society is that we are not, we're scared. We live in this fear of everything, really. Mm-hmm. We live in this fear of failure. We live in this. So instead of failing, we just decide not to try. And I think that is the problem with maybe human beings in general. And I think that is what happens to a lot of men, is that we, even though we have these issues, we're so afraid to take a risk in order to alleviate it that we stay sedated or we stay stagnant. And then, and we just kind of blame everything else when there is a way.
So here,
how can we change that? I guess.
So here's how we begin to change this. And brothers, I need you all to chime in, because what's the one thing brothers do when they are stuck without a solution? They go into isolation. Am I right?
Right.
They go into isolation. So first thing we need to do is get with other brothers. First and foremost, get with a council of men, a group of men who can help you, who are not also sedated, and who can help you stay, or who can help you wake up. I'm about to put together this week a private Facebook group for men only, and we just gonna deal
I
with.
want in.
Nope. For men only, where we gonna deal with men issues, and we're gonna be able to come clean. It's gonna be private, locked out. For other people, we're gonna begin to support one another in the brotherhood, because men. One of the reasons men sedate is because you feel like you're the only one going through this. I'm all alone. Nobody knows what I'm talking about. Nobody knows what it feels to go through this. Nobody knows. I'm telling you, I used to be in that predicament thinking nobody knows. Got in a couple of groups and I'm like, man, it's 20,000 of y'all. How the heck? Where y'all been? So one of the things to get into a council of brotherhood. The second thing to do that is vital is to focus in the right order on the priorities. So when men are economically challenged, what do we focus on? Solving the economic problem. First and foremost, you gotta focus on fitness. You gotta focus on your body, fitness. She says, Cecil said no pillow talk.
Cecil said the first rule of that private, yes, he's petty. The first rule of that private group should be no pillow talking. You're right, Cecil. I'm just going to sit back and wait to hear what's happening. Somebody going to talk. No. Right? I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully they're brave enough, and I don't want to use the word brave, but to actually join. I think
so.
Sometimes you don't think you need this.
Then that's part of the sedation. If you are in, so there's a difference between isolation and insulation. When men can't figure out the solution to a problem, most men go into isolation, and that is how depression kicks in, suicidal thoughts and tendencies kick in. So we cannot isolate ourselves. There are other men who have the solution to the problem. Toussaint said, let go. That is a humongous, that's what basically what we're saying. If your problem is economic, there are three things that can lead you to economic success before you ever even address economics. Fitness, because how you feel in your body is key, and the energy you bring to the table is critical to what you're doing. Number two, it changes your mindset. And number two is faith, or as the group I'm in says, being who you are. What are you thinking? What is your mental capacity? What are you learning about yourselves? And number three is family, having the right balance with family. And when a man has those three things in order, finances he can actually address. But when you're out of balance with the other three, it's difficult to address finances. And that's when depression, isolation, sedation comes in. So you've got a lot of good men out there who are walking dead. And if we can just turn on the switch, the light, and help wake us up to see, look, you're not alone in this, bro. You're not alone in this. That right there gives you an energy like no other. You're not alone in this. To hear the stories of 100 other men going through the same thing you're going through, and how one person got life out of this can turn on the life or the light in you. That's the reason we started the Iron Man. 4 of us got together in our own separate businesses, feeling like don't nobody know the struggle my business going through. We sat down our first meeting and everybody had the same story. We looked at each other like, you got to be kidding me. Here's how we're going to support one another. First thing we're going to do is support your business. Let's make this a success. And then we're going to come support your business. Let's make this a success. When you've got a brotherhood behind you, it's like feeling like you got an army behind you.
Go ahead.
Because one thing I wanted to say, to his point of the brotherhood is that, as men, sometimes we feel this burden on, we have to do this by ourselves. And that is probably the most backwards way to look at it. It is. Because no matter what type of success you have, you need people around you. And so, but that's what happens and that's the reason why we go in and we sedate ourselves, is because we think that we have to do that. Like one of my biggest problems personally is just asking people to help me or do something. because you just feel like, all right, it's my responsibility, this, that, and the other, and I don't want to burden anybody with my problems. And so, I've had to learn over the last, couple of years or whatever to just, be able to ask for help.
I would like to ask, from the woman's perspective of listening to you guys talk with the support group. So when you hear a man that is sedated or hurting or dealing with the fitness, the faith, the family, and the finances, and the finance seems to be a huge one, and you hear a woman say, "There's no good men out here," is that hurtful? Is that damaging? Does that get into the psyche of some men?
It gets into the psyche of a lot of men. It gets into the psyche of, you hear men, and what a lot of men do is defend themselves. Well, all y'all want is money. No. Money does take money to do some of this stuff, but that's not all she wants. And so you get and what you start hearing men do is defend their weakness.
Right. Exactly. No,
that's the truth.
It's the truth, and you see it all the time, and that's the thing I don't understand about some of the male arguments is that, to me, a woman is a gold digger if, she totally ignores everything else for the sake of money, for the most part. All right. A woman who is, who's, employed, pretty well, this, that, and the other, for her to want a mate that brings something equal or something, or at least being able to take care of herself and do more to the table, is not unrealistic. I mean, no one wants to sit and be broke together. It makes no sense to do that. Like, I don't know if anybody's ever had money problems, but it's not fun. And so for somebody to want that, it's nothing wrong with that. And to be vilified for that is the thing that baffles me, because I have a daughter, and the first thing I'm going to tell her is, look, if you can find somebody who, has some money, or who is, and they treat you well, roll with that. I mean, I don't see why that's an issue, unless that's all she's asking for and she's not looking at other characteristics. That's when it's a problem. Otherwise, that's not a problem. It's like me wanting an attractive woman or someone who I'm attracted to. Women find security attractive. We all know it. That's why a lot of us wanted a lot of money in the first place. It's because of, we know what it does. So I never understood that.
If we don't really start to have these discussions and help men, particularly men, and I'm not knocking women or saying that men are the problem or women are the problem, but if we don't help our brothers wake up, we as a community, as a Black community, won't survive, because there is quite literally a war going on, and we are the casualty of that war. And what and some of us know that, and what we're doing is sedating ourselves on it. How many hours do we spend just watching TV? And the TV, we're not even watching the TV, it's just on so that the noise in our head can go off. You get what I'm saying? That is sedation. Because the truth of the matter is, there is real pain and agony going on in the brotherhood. And so we gotta get brothers together. You all know I work with Circle Urban Ministries, and what we have a campaign called Taking Back Our Hoods. And there are 5 key hoods that we're focused on taking back. Number 1 is manhood. That's why you hear me talking about manhood so much. Number 2 is fatherhood. Number 3 is womanhood. Number 4 is motherhood. And then number 5 is childhood. So we're working on taking back all 5 of those key areas, helping give people the tools that they need to navigate their particular hood. And if we take back enough of those 5 hoods, then we'll start take back neighborhoods. And if we take back enough neighborhoods, then we'll take back cities to states to nations. So, but we first got to start with the foundation of the home is manhood. And we got to start with the foundation of the home, because women are under pressure that they were never designed to be under. You were never created to have the pressure you currently have. And that is because some of us, brothers, men, have decided to let go. We have decided to let go. And so she is forced to have pressure she was never designed to have. She was forced to sit in the king's seat. I'm sorry, queens. You weren't designed to sit in that seat. You were designed to sit in the queen's seat. But you are sitting in the king's seat, and so you are running the kingdom. And to all of the people that I have coached, it's a common theme. The women say, I don't want that seat. I don't want to lead. I want him to lead, but he won't. And he look well, and I hear him say, well, you won't let me lead. And I stop him. I said, but how many leaders need to be let to lead? She won't follow. And I say, follow what? What's the mission? I don't have a mission. What do you mean, what's the mission? What's the game plan? I don't have a game plan. We just work. I said, so you want her to sit in the middle of the ocean. And when she say, which direction we going? You say, I don't know. Let's just head. And so she get behind the captain seat and be like, no, I row us this way. At least I know the sun is in that direction. I'm just being, we just being real.
No, that's the truth. And I've always wondered, like, why is anybody going to lead somebody who doesn't have a history of even making good decisions? If my history is better than yours, why do I follow you? And I don't care what gender that is.
Just because you male.
Just because you male. And I think the issue is that some men think that having a penis, is that okay to say?
Yeah, you already said it.
It's out there.
You know,
you said it low, but we still heard.
Some people think being male,
yeah, being male has given you the right to lead somebody who, in their own right, is very capable of doing it, and who has done it for their whole lives and has had good results, the results that they're satisfied with. And I think that's a big issue. And you just kind of look, I could understand why somebody wouldn't want to follow that, especially somebody who doesn't even have a plan or a direction that they're going to, and can't even articulate that to the person who they're asking to follow them.
That's right. So
final words. We're running short on time. Yes.
So men, when we create this private Facebook group, one of the things that we want to work on is getting a life plan together. If you don't have a life plan, you definitely want to join this group. I'm going to send out a link to Wanda later this week when the group is created. It's going to start with zero. It's going to start with 0 people, and we're going to go one by one because some of y'all not going to stay in a group, and we're going to let you know if you aren't committed to fully embracing getting back on the throne of your kingdom, it probably ain't the group for you.
All right. Okara, what do you have going on? I know you have.
So I have a summer camp that I'm doing September 6th through the 9th. It's an adult co-ed summer camp. So yeah, I'm doing that.
What's the name of it again?
It's called Sipping S'mores.
I think this is a cool name, Sipping S'mores.
Yeah, so I'm doing that. What else am I doing? I do ultrasound cavitation. That's basically ultrasound liposuction. For anybody who need to lose a couple of inches off the waist, you can come see me. And then, and I graduate from massage school at the end of the month.
Congratulations.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
James Borshade, how can they reach you and get in this group?
I'll put my email address in the comments of this video, info@jamesborshade.com or jamesb@circleurban.org. I will put the link out later this week to Wanda, and we'll blast it in all the groups that I shared this post in. So let's get moving. We are in the middle of a war that we don't even know we're fighting.
Thank you so much, guys, for coming on the show. Thank you to Mark Aguirre, who is here. Listen to his show, Mark on the Mark. 9 p.m. tonight on IntellectualRadio.com. I appreciate you both. Thank you to everyone on Facebook who chimes in. Toussaint, John, Steezo. Check out Steezo Radio. And everyone else. My computer shut off, so I don't see all the names, but I will definitely reach out to you all. I so appreciate everyone who commented today. Thank you so much. And please come back 2 p.m. next week. And then also to the sponsors, Allstate Insurance, 7380 West 87th Street, 708-599-5100. Home, auto, and life insurance. Tell Sal I sent you. You will be in good hands. And Premier Family Dental and Health and Wellness, 5600 West 87th Street, for your comprehensive family medical care. And thank you, guys. I will hope to see you all same time, same place here on IntellectualRadio.com. He said, she said, next week, 2 p.m. Thank you so much. See you next week.
All inclusion, no confusion. He said, she said, clearing up the drama with Wanda.